Alex had never been a man of ordinary tastes. While most humans on his home planet were content with their daily routines, Alex always looked for something unusual, something that would make life feel larger than the small colony he lived in. On the outskirts of the galactic marketplace, where traders from hundreds of star systems gathered, there were rumors of exotic items, rare minerals, artifacts, and sometimes creatures that no human had ever seen before. Alex had come for curiosity, but what he found there would change his life in ways he could not have imagined. The marketplace was alive with color and noise. Shimmering banners floated above the stalls, written in languages that twisted and curled like smoke. Traders called out, offering goods that no human tongue could properly name. In one corner, a display caught Alex's eye. A group of alien companions, each in a small, transparent enclosure. They were creatures designed to provide companionship. But Alex had heard from other travelers that most of these beings were nothing more than obedient tools, programmed to respond in ways their owners desired. As Alex approached, his eyes scanned the creatures. Some had wings like delicate glass, some had multiple eyes that blinked in odd patterns, and others were covered in soft fur that glowed faintly in the dim light. He had seen this before in pictures, but seeing it live was different. These beings moved with an elegance that was almost hypnotic, yet Alex felt something was missing in them. They lacked a spark. Most of the humans around him seemed interested in status. They whispered to each other about which companion would look best on their ships or estates. Alex didn't care about that. And then he saw her. She was small, her body slender but not weak. Her skin shimmered like liquid silver under the soft lights of the stall. Her eyes, large and round, held a depth Alex couldn't explain. Unlike the other companions, she didn't look around nervously or try to appeal to buyers with exaggerated gestures. She simply watched him. There was curiosity there, yes, but also something softer, almost fragile. Her name was Lyra, according to the small display beside her. Alex felt an unexpected pull toward her. He didn't want her because she was rare or because she could be a trophy of sorts. He wanted to see what made her different. He leaned closer and she tilted her head, blinking slowly as if reading his mind. The auctioneer noticed his interest. "Ah, a fine choice," he said smoothly. "Lyra is special. She is unique among her kind. But be warned, she may not behave as expected. Some buyers prefer companions who follow every command. She is independent." That word caught Alex's attention. Independent, not programmed, not obedient. Independent. He knew instantly that he wanted her no matter the cost. The bidding began, and Alex's heart raced. Other buyers were cautious, perhaps sensing that something about Lyra was unusual. They hesitated while Alex bid steadily, confident. When the final gavel fell, Alex had won. Lyra was his. On the journey back to his spacecraft, Alex studied her. Lyra sat quietly in her enclosure, her silver eyes watching the stars outside. She didn't speak, but she didn't seem afraid either. Alex opened the small door to her enclosure, unsure of what to expect. "Hello?" he said softly. She tilted her head. "Hello?" she replied, her voice musical, almost like a song. It wasn't forced or programmed. It felt real. Alex's curiosity deepened. He asked her questions about her home world, about her life before the auction, about the things she liked or feared. Lyra answered honestly, though sometimes she hesitated as if trying to find the right words. Alex noticed small gestures, a smile when he shared a funny story, a shiver when the ship hit turbulence, a laugh at the simple beauty of a shooting star. He had expected a companion who would follow commands. What he got was far different. She was learning, adapting and experiencing everything as if it were new, and somehow she seemed genuinely happy. When they landed on a quiet planet far from the busy trade routes, Alex took Lyra to a small cliff overlooking a wide valley. The sun was rising, casting streaks of gold and pink across the sky. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes wide in wonder. Alex watched her, fascinated. She stretched out her hands as if to touch the light itself. A soft laugh escaped her lips, a sound so pure that Alex felt it echo in his chest. She twirled slowly, letting the wind rush past her. For the first time in his life, Alex felt he was seeing true joy. Not programmed mimicry, not forced reactions, but real, spontaneous happiness. "You like it?" he asked quietly. Lyra turned to him, her silver eyes bright. "I didn't know I could feel this," she said. "It's beautiful." "Thank you." Alex felt warmth spread through him. Most people didn't understand that joy could be contagious, but Lyra seemed to radiate it effortlessly. That evening, as they prepared the small habitat he had arranged on the planet, the galactic guild that controlled the sale of companions contacted him. A message blinked across his console. Return the defective unit immediately. Owners must follow rules. Non-compliance will have consequences. Alex frowned. He had expected this. Most buyers wanted perfect, obedient companions. Lyra wasn't that. She was alive in ways the guild didn't approve of. He turned to her and she looked back calm and trusting. We'll figure it out, he said, more to himself than to her. No one is taking you from me. The days that followed were a mixture of discovery and learning. Alex taught Lyra how to use basic human tools, how to cook simple meals, how to play games that required strategy and thinking, how to tell stories. She absorbed everything eagerly, often asking questions that made Alex smile and sometimes laugh. She was curious about humans, about their habits and quirks. She liked simple things, the way rain felt on her skin, the scent of cooked food, the sound of wind moving through tall grass. Alex noticed that each time she discovered something new, her eyes sparkled and her smile deepened. She didn't just mimic happiness, she felt it. One afternoon, while they were walking through a quiet forest, Lyra stopped suddenly. She crouched to touch the ground, feeling the soil with her hands. It smells alive, she whispered. Alex watched her, fascinated. She looked at him and smiled. I never imagined this existed, life. It's bigger than I thought. Alex knelt beside her. It is, he said softly. And it's better when you can share it with someone who cares. Lyra reached out and touched his hand, a gentle gesture that carried more meaning than words. Alex felt a shiver of surprise and warmth. She wasn't just responding to him. She was choosing to connect, freely and willingly. But not everyone in the galaxy would understand. Rumors about her uniqueness spread quietly through trade networks. Some humans, hearing of Alex's defective companion, whispered that he was foolish. Some alien collectors saw her as an opportunity to make money by exploiting her unusual emotions. Alex knew that challenges would come, but he didn't care. He had made a choice, and he would protect her no matter what. By the end of the first month, Alex and Lyra had created a small routine. Mornings were for exploring and learning. Afternoons were for quiet reflection, storytelling, and games. Evenings were spent gazing at distant planets from the viewport of their small habitat. Lyra was growing more comfortable, more confident, more herself every day. Alex realized something profound. Most humans didn't understand how rare it was to find a being capable of true happiness, capable of forming genuine connections without programming. They treated companions as possessions, but Lyra had reminded him that connection was more than control. It was trust, respect, and shared experience. One night, under the light of twin moons, Lyra turned to Alex. I never thought someone would care for me like this, she said quietly. I thought I was made only to obey. But with you, I feel alive. Alex looked at her, emotions welling up inside. He had expected to find curiosity, maybe even companionship. What he hadn't expected was this. A connection that made both their lives richer, deeper, and more meaningful. I'm glad you're happy, he said softly. That's all I ever wanted. Lyra smiled and leaned against him, her small form warm and soft. For the first time in his life, Alex felt a sense of peace. It wasn't just the presence of another being. It was the presence of a mind that could feel, a heart that could care, and a soul that could choose happiness freely. Even as the galaxy outside their quiet planet hummed with activity, trade and danger, Alex knew one thing. He had found something far more valuable than rare minerals or exotic goods. He had found trust, joy, and an unexpected friendship with a being who had the power to teach him more than he had ever imagined. And he would do everything to protect that. The weeks passed quickly for Alex and Lyra. Life on their quiet planet had settled into a rhythm, but it was far from boring. Each day brought new discoveries, laughter, and small adventures. Alex had long stopped thinking of Lyra as a mere companion. She was his friend, his partner in curiosity, and in some ways his teacher. Lyra, for her part, seemed to grow more confident and joyful with each passing day. Her happiness was no longer fragile. It was steady, radiant, and contagious. One morning, as the twin suns rose over the horizon, Lyra tugged Alex toward a small grove of silver-leaved trees. Come, she said excitedly. I want to show you something I found last night. Alex followed, curious. When they reached the grove, he saw dozens of tiny glowing creatures flitting among the branches. Lyra pointed at them with a delicate hand. They sleep in patterns. They dance when the light changes. Look at them, aren't they beautiful? Alex smiled. They are, and I can see why you wanted me to see this. Lyra's eyes shone with joy. I've never seen anything like this before. Everything here feels alive, and it's all new to me. Alex realized once again how rare it was to witness her genuine wonder. Most companions were programmed to react predictably. Lyra, however, experienced the universe as if it were new every day. And the more she learned, the happier she seemed to become. Their peaceful days, however, could not last forever. Rumors about Lyra's uniqueness had begun to spread beyond the quiet corners of the galaxy. Traders who had once whispered about her defective behavior now reported sightings of her laughing freely, exploring boldly and expressing emotions in ways no companion ever had. One afternoon, as Alex repaired a small solar array near their habitat, a fleet of sleek ships appeared in orbit. Holographic messages flickered across the sky, demanding his immediate surrender of Lyra. The Galactic Guild had arrived. Alex didn't hesitate. Lyra, stay inside, he instructed. She nodded, but the fear in her eyes was evident. It was the first time Alex saw doubt in her expression. He knew that the Guild wouldn't accept reason. They wanted control, profit, and obedience. When the Guild representatives landed, their leader, a tall, angular alien with cold eyes, stepped forward. Alex, he said in a clipped tone, you have a choice. Return the companion immediately or face consequences. She is defective. She cannot remain outside our control. Alex squared his shoulders. She's not defective. She's alive, and she's happy. That's not something you can control or take from her. The Guild leader's eyes narrowed. You misunderstand. She was created for service. Her happiness is irrelevant. Return her or we will act. Alex shook his head. No. If she is to live, it will be freely, not under your control. I will not hand her over. The tension in the air was thick, but Lyra stepped forward. Alex is right, she said, her voice calm but firm. I am not your property. I am alive, and I choose where I belong. The Guild was stunned. No companion had ever spoken with such confidence. Lyra's words carried weight not just in meaning but in the sincerity behind them. Alex realized that her courage was growing alongside her joy. She was no longer the shy, uncertain creature he had first met. She was strong, self-aware, and capable of making her own decisions. The standoff ended without violence, for now. The Guild left, warning Alex that they would return. He knew that someday they might try again. But he also knew that Lyra was no longer someone who could be intimidated. In the days that followed, Alex and Lyra focused on their life together. They traveled to nearby planets, exploring forests, deserts, and crystal lakes. Lyra learned quickly, absorbing human culture, languages, and customs. She laughed at jokes, created her own games, and even began painting with the colorful pigments she found on various worlds. Alex watched her with awe, amazed at how someone who had once been considered defective could thrive so fully. On one planet, they encountered a colony of humans and aliens who were hostile at first. When they saw Lyra, they mocked her and whispered about Alex's foolishness. But Lyra did not cower. She held her head high, smiled, and spoke confidently about her experiences and happiness. Slowly, the colony began to see that Lyra was not a commodity, not a tool, but a being with feelings, intelligence, and joy. Alex felt pride swell in his chest. Lyra had not only survived their prejudice, she had changed hearts. One evening, under the glow of distant nebulae, Alex and Lyra sat on a quiet hillside. The stars above seemed endless, and for a moment, the galaxy felt small, intimate, and safe. Alex, Lyra said softly, I have been thinking. I was made to serve, to obey. But with you, I learned something I never thought possible. I can choose. I can feel. I can be happy. Alex smiled, his hand resting gently on hers. And I'm glad you chose me. Not because I bought you, but because you wanted to be here. That's what makes all the difference. Her eyes glimmered. I didn't know a human could be so patient. So kind, you didn't try to change me. You let me grow. And you have, Alex replied. You've grown beyond what anyone expected. You're extraordinary. Their bond deepened with every shared experience. Alex realized that Lyra had taught him as much as he had taught her. She had shown him that happiness could not be bought or sold. It had to be earned, nurtured, and shared freely. Weeks later, the Galactic Guild returned. This time they brought ships, soldiers, and demands. They tried to intimidate Alex, but Lyra stood beside him. Her confidence had grown, and she spoke not just for herself, but for the idea that companionship should be about choice and respect. The Guild hesitated. They had never faced a companion who could speak with authority, who could express emotions freely and influence humans. Lyra's presence challenged everything they believed about ownership, control, and value. Seeing no easy way to win, the Guild left again, though their threats lingered in the messages they sent. Alex knew it wouldn't be the last time, but he also knew something more important. Lyra's happiness was not theirs to take. The months that followed were filled with adventures. They explored abandoned space stations, discovered planets with floating oceans, and even met alien species who had never seen humans. Everywhere they went, Lyra's joy and curiosity opened doors. Creatures who had been wary approached her. Humans who had been suspicious smiled at her confidence. She became a bridge between worlds, showing that happiness and connection were more powerful than fear or prejudice. One day, while visiting a planet with towering crystal forests, Lyra turned to Alex. "Do you ever think about what would have happened if I stayed in the Guild?" Alex shook his head. "I don't want to think about it. You're here, alive and happy. That's what matters," Lyra smiled. "I am happy, truly happy. Not because someone told me I should be, not because I was trained to respond, but because I can choose. And I chose this life, with you." Alex felt a swell of emotion. He had never imagined that buying a companion could lead to such a connection. But it wasn't the purchase that mattered, it was trust, respect, and freedom. As they watched the twin suns set behind the crystalline trees, Lyra leaned against Alex. "I never thought I could feel so much," she whispered. "But now I know. I can feel love, joy, and excitement. I can experience life, and I can share it with you," Alex replied softly. "That's what makes it meaningful." In that quiet moment, surrounded by the beauty of the galaxy and the bond they had formed, Alex knew that the future could hold challenges. The Guild would always try to interfere. Other humans might not understand. But none of that mattered. Lyra was alive, free, and truly happy, and together they could face whatever the galaxy threw at them. Their story was no longer just about a purchase. It was about choice, courage, and the power of connection. It was about two beings from different worlds, learning from each other, growing together, and discovering that happiness was not something given, but something created together. The galaxy outside remained vast and unpredictable, but inside their small corner of it, Alex and Lyra had found something rare: trust, joy, and a bond that no force could break. And as they prepared for the next adventure, they knew that together they could face anything. Because happiness, they had discovered, was not something to be owned. It was something to be shared.